G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my first ever SnowRunner video. So today we're going to be completing the mission Threatening Accident and we're going to be using the KRS58 Bandit. This is a DLC vehicle. At the time of recording this video I was actually at level 9, so I hadn't actually unlocked the tyres that you see on the truck now. The tyres that I was using in the video were these ones here, the UOD, the 51-inch UOD 2s. Now unfortunately these tyres really don't help with the stability issues of this truck. As you can see, they are pretty much pizza cutters in comparison to these tyres here. So yeah, the truck is extremely unstable. Honestly, if I was to do this mission again, I would use the White Western Star. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with the route I would suggest that you would take for this mission. So, when I done this mission myself the first time, I actually went down here, down this road here, dropped down here, and then collected the container here, went up here, and then collected the container here. And then mistakenly, I thought that the mission completion objective was here, so I needed to drop off the oil barrels at this location here. However, they actually needed to be dropped off here. So rather than going up, so mistakenly what I did is I went all the way down this road here, then all the way down here, then all the way up this road, went to drop off the fuel containers here, realized that that's not where they needed to go, and then I went up here, and then I made the mistake of thinking, oh yeah, I'll just take a shortcut through this section here. Yeah, big mistake. Do not do that. So the route that I recommend you take for this mission is the following. So come out of the garage, turn right, go all the way down this road, go all the way down this road here until you get to this point here, and then just simply drop down here. I believe there is a container here, or perhaps it is, yeah, I think there is one here, and then there's also one here, and then one about there. So I would honestly come down here through the garage, come down to this point, go all the way along the embankment after you've picked up, well, actually first come all the way along the embankment, pick up this, this container here, go along the bank, pick up this container here, and then drive up here. And then what I would do as well is I would have a second truck here and then offload the 2 containers that you've picked up into the second truck, and then come back down here, go along the embankment, along here, pick up this container here, and then come down here, pick up this container, and then reverse around and do the exact same thing on the way back up, and then finally drop them off here. You can see that I did kind of successfully complete this mission, although, yeah, I really totally botched it and went the complete wrong direction. However, it is quite entertaining watching me trying to not flip this truck over, and I'll add some little bits of commentary as I complete the mission. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, well you can kind of see that things are getting a little bit boggy here, and I'm kind of concerned that if I try and go up the hill this way that the truck's going to tip over because it's kind of leaning a lot to the right. So I opt to reverse out here and then take a bit of a shallower path up onto that embankment, get out of the really, you know, boggy sand and then up there, and then try and attack it at a different angle. So here I kind of make a really big mistake. I didn't realize at the time that you could actually attach the crane to the piece of cargo a lot further away than what you are from it now, or what I am from it now. So I could actually be probably about 10 meters further back and then grab the cargo that way, rather than driving all the way up to the edge of the water and getting the truck. Yeah, you can kind of see that it's pretty much bottomed out in that mud. And then you can also see the chassis is kind of flexing, and I have a really hard time not tipping this truck over. I mean, look at the amount of flex that's on that tray compared to the cab. It's just insane. And honestly, it was really kind of a balancing act to try not to get this truck to tip over the way it is now. I have actually seen videos of people tipping this truck over on a solid surface with these tires on, just using the crane and trying to pick up some cargo. So yeah, this truck is horrendously unstable, and you can kind of see me trying to balance the truck out and get it to a point where I can actually drop the cargo into the tray and not actually tip the thing over. But as you'll see in a minute, me getting so close to the water here, I actually get the thing completely bogged. I drop the cargo in. Close enough is good enough. We can use the game's mechanics to kind of pack the cargo for us. Fantastic. So now we can restore the crane, and then hopefully we should be able to reverse out, right? Yeah, not so much. So as you can see, we are completely and utterly stuck. So yeah, I'm kind of looking at my options here. I can see two trees either side of me. I decided to connect the winch to this tree to try and pull me out. However, you can kind of see that as I'm pulling the winch this direction, now I believe I have my wheels full lock left, and that's not really helping me. So I decided to remove the winch because I saw that the truck was tipping over, and yeah, I'm stuck again. So I have no choice but to winch myself out. So here I go full lock left again, and then I kind of decide to go full lock right and then pull myself out. And then you can kind of see that kind of worked out for me. So yeah, definitely if you're in that sort of scenario, go full lock right rather than full lock left. Now I'm kind of thinking that maybe I have enough traction to get myself out of this without winching, but no I don't, so I winch to that tree there. And then once we have a little bit of momentum going on, then we can kind of continue forward. So this is where I kind of make the mistake of not going... yeah, I really didn't plan out the route for this mission very well. And yeah, I just made a complete debacle out of the whole thing. So I'll kind of skip this part where I foolishly try and create a route that's going to be good. And yeah, as I said, I went the direction that I went before, that I mentioned before, and it was the complete wrong direction. So I would actually go up above, near where the Smithville Dam logo is, and then along the embankment to those last set of oil barrels, and then up that hill there. So here we are coming up the hill, which I suggest that you take coming in and out of this mission. And as I'm passing these barrels, I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, can I actually winch these things out? So I actually took the Chevy CK1500 down to this point later on after this part, and I tried to pull the barrels with the winch, but yeah, it turned out you can't do that. And then after this, I kind of discovered that you could actually use the crane at a distance to kind of winch the cargo towards your truck. So it's at this point you can kind of really see the amount of flex in between the cab and the tray. I'm really kind of concerned at this point that the truck's going to tip over when I try and go around this corner, given how flexible the chassis is. And as you can see, the front wheel on the left hand side of the truck is kind of propped up on the other side of that, what would you call it, kind of track. So what I do here is I pin the side of the truck to this tree in an attempt to hold it so that when I round the corner, the tree being attached to that winch is going to stop the truck from rolling over. And there we go, the winch has been released, and now we're heading our way back up the mountain. And now you see me completely fail and take the completely wrong route and go through the shortcut that I mentioned before. However, honestly, you're better off just going the road up near the garage and then down to the fuel station, because even though it is technically a longer distance, the speed at which you can travel on a sealed surface is way greater than what you can do through that mud pit, which I thought was the shortcut. So here I kind of demonstrate what I was talking about before. So you can see that I've parked quite a fair distance away from this cargo container, and this is what I should have done on the sandbank when we were trying to retrieve the cargo container that was next to the river. So you can see that the crane is no way going to get near the top of that. But what we can do is just attach the crane to it and then just winch the cargo towards us. And that will aid with stability, because I was really afraid here, especially given the Bandit's instability issues. I was really afraid that it would kind of tip over if I was to try and, winch up some sort of cargo while being semi-underwater and stuck in mud. So, especially with these tyres, I have found that if you are using the 51-inch mud tyres, the ones that I showed in the beginning of the video, they're over like 3 times wider than these tyres, and it actually does increase the stability of this truck quite significantly. So, yeah. But as I said before, I would use the White Western Star for this mission because that vehicle seems to be so much more stable, especially considering the fact that it has dualies on the back, and it's just a lot lower to the ground. The chassis is a little bit wider, and it's an all-round more stable truck. But if you are going to use the KR58 Bandit, then I would definitely recommend using the 51-inch mud tyres, although they aren't unlocked until level 11, so yeah, it's kind of a catch-22.